This is the ZNS Network, providing radio and high-definition television services for the entire Bahamas. ZNS Network is operated by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. It is located at Harcourt Rusty Bethel Drive, Centerville, Nassau. Our programming is designed to inform, educate, and entertain. We invite you to join us.
The following is the preamble of the Constitution of the Bahamas, which was made on June 20th, 1973, and came into operation July 10th, 1973.
Whereas 481 years ago, the rediscovery of this family of islands, rocks and keys, heralded the rebirth of the New World. And whereas the people of this family of islands, recognizing that the preservation of their freedom will be guaranteed by a national commitment to self-discipline, industry, loyalty, unity, and an abiding respect for Christian values and the rule of law. Now, know we therefore, we the inheritors of and successors to this family of islands, recognizing the supremacy of God and believing in the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, do hereby proclaim in solemn praise the establishment of a free and democratic sovereign nation, founded on spiritual values, and in which no man, woman, or child shall ever be slave or bondsman to anyone, or their labor exploited, or their lives frustrated by deprivation, and do hereby provide by these articles for the indivisible unity and creation under God of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Coming up in the morning edition.
They had an advanced team that came in on Saturday past.
A field hospital to be set upon the grounds at PMH. Also, 13 Cuban migrants apprehended in Bahamian waters. And
early detection and treatment helps save lives.
We continue to celebrate Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Those stories and more when the morning edition comes right back.
Of the Bahamas.
By giving unconditionally, not expecting anything in return, I thought was a wonderful way of showing this love, and I believe that it is love that truly draws people, and so I thought we could cover a lot more people by feeding. Volunteers, you know, they have truly been sold.
My passion is to help, and I thank God for what I can do through the help of Bahamas Feeding Network.
Insurance Board dishing out millions to assist Bahamians on the unemployment line. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thank you so much for waking up with us. In his national report yesterday, Minister of National Insurance and the Public Service, the Honorable Brenzel Rolle, revealed that NIB had to shell out large sums of money in order to support unprecedented unemployment across this country in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. The government has also made some key decisions in the public service. Here's Keisha Adderley.
A decision has been made to place a freeze on public service hiring and put other benefits on hold. Minister for the Public Service and National Insurance, the Honorable Brenzel Rolle, detailed the government's position during a national report.
Increments, promotions, confirmation, and reclassification of all public officers will be deferred for the 2020-2021 budget year. The establishment or the number of persons employed in each ministry will not increase. New hires will only occur in special circumstances with direct cabinet approval.
Deferments on those payments are expected to be included in the next budget year. Meantime, the NIB fund continues to exceed typical payments with a total $175 million in assistance payments made between March 20th and October 11th, 2020. The smallest allocation, $12.5 million for Hurricane Dorian survivors.
The government-funded unemployment assistance program for self-employed persons, $15.61 million to just over 7,000 persons were paid. Under the government-funded unemployment program extension, which is currently underway, $56.1 million have been paid to over 30,000 persons as of the 11th of October, 2020. The ordinary NIB unemployment benefit for contributors to the National Insurance Fund, $91.6 million to 37,000 persons have been paid by NIB.
It's anticipated that before this is all over, at least $200 million will be paid out. Despite the load, NIB Director Nicola Virgil-Roll maintains the fund is strong.
Our total investments stand at $1.5 billion. Our reserves, which encompass that, start at $1.87 billion. We have expended just over $300 million last year, and that's a typical year for us. And so we know that that will expand tremendously this year. And our contribution income is generally around $290 million. And given the pandemic and the loss of employment, we know that this will be down, hovering around 70 or so % of our budgeted amount.
Minister Roll also answered queries about the security of salaries at struggling government corporations.
For the last 6 months, just over 6 months, the government has been consistent and no corporation and no member of the public service have lost salary. With regards to Bahamas Air, and I don't speak for Bahamas Air, what I can say to you is that we are in discussions with the minister responsible, that has responsibility for Bahamas Air, and the government will make every effort to ensure that a reasonable and an acceptable position is taken. But we have taken the position that workers can't just stay home and continue to be paid for the rest of the year, and so opportunities may come for workers at Bahamas Air so that they cannot lose salary or income for this period.
Meantime, a huge number of checks still waiting to be collected from the National Insurance Board, begging the need for this appeal from NIB Director Rhonda Ingram.
At the moment, we still have approximately 2,500 checks for collection at the stadium. And I'd just also like to reiterate what the minister would have said as far as the lines are concerned. At present, the lines are non-existent. And so please come, collect your checks from the stadium, Mondays through Fridays, 9 to 4. We stand ready, willing, and able to serve you. So please, collect your checks from the stadium.
With an increase in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations, officials from the United States-based nonprofit organization Samaritan's Purse are in town to assist the government's response to COVID-19. Health Minister, the Honorable Renwood Wells, says the plan is to construct a COVID-19 field hospital on the grounds of the Princess Margaret Hospital.
They had an advance team that came in on Saturday past, and we have prepared the grounds of the Princess Margaret Hospital to receive that field hospital. And 30 healthcare personnel, doctors and nurses, will be working with our healthcare teams down at PMH and in the country to be able to assist us with dealing with COVID-positive persons.
Minister Wells confirmed that the Samaritan's Purse team will be here in New Providence working with health officials for the next 6 weeks.
And while they are here, they're also going to be training some of our personnel in the latest healthcare procedures in regards to how you would treat individuals who are COVID positive, and so they're also going to be using their administrative techniques in this particular field hospital. So we're going to have also an opportunity to observe them. And like I said, there's going to be a sense of cross-pollination where they're going to be imparting some of their institutional knowledge.
The Ministry of Health will host a COVID-19 press conference today at 3 p.m. It will be carried live over the ZNS network and on our social media platforms. The Cabinet Office has announced the temporary closure of the Road Traffic Department at the Ministry of Transport and Local Government Stadium location. The Road Traffic Department will be closed today and Monday to facilitate the appropriate cleaning and sanitizing following exposure to a COVID-19 case. Services will resume on Tuesday at the usual time. The Bahamas Red Cross Society's headquarters on JFK is also closed until Tuesday for deep cleaning and sanitization. The closure will not impact the normal operations of the National Task Force and its distribution centers, which remain operational today and on Monday. Meanwhile, Bahamas Air has acquired a new jet through a lease agreement. Chairman Tommy Turnquest says the Boeing 737-700 aircraft will replace one of the older planes in the airline's fleet. We asked the chairman about the rationale behind the lease agreement at a time when business is so uncertain.
You know, this is something that we've had in train for some time, and it wasn't something that we could stop.
Okay.
But we believe that this will help us. We have a jet that is being decommissioned. That come January, we would have had to spend $2.5 million on maintenance costs for it. We think financially it makes a lot of sense.
Mr. Turnquest says the airline is already considering a proposal on ways to generate more income amidst the slow volume of traffic by tourists.
And in the delivery of tourists to the Bahamas. We're very excited about that opportunity, and we couldn't have done it without it. We could, because if we just had one jet that's able to do the long haul, we'd had no redundancy in the case something went wrong. And so now with the two jets, we're able to do that. The Ministry of Tourism has asked us to look at the Mexico City Latin American market. We couldn't, when they asked us to look at it, we couldn't do it because at the time we only had, again, one jet that could accommodate that. Now that we'd have two, we'll be able to accommodate that. And so it puts Bahamas Air in a much better position from a business perspective.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs advising Bahamians traveling abroad to take sufficient funds with them in the event they run into additional expenses as a result of restrictions and protocols put in place because of COVID-19. Now, according to the release, Bahamians are increasingly approaching Bahamian embassies and consulates overseas requesting financial assistance related to matters such as COVID-19 testing, quarantine, accommodations, and airline ticket changes. The ministry says its overseas missions do not have sufficient financial resources to accommodate and maintain persons who find themselves stranded because of a lack of funds. The COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on the economies of Commonwealth and Caribbean nations among the issues topping the agenda at the Commonwealth Foreign Affairs Ministers meeting this week. Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Darren Henfield, delivered a statement on behalf of the Bahamas at that virtual meeting.
COVID has caused an overrun and burden on our healthcare systems. It has caused us to have to take steps to mitigate the spread of COVID. These are faced by every country in the world, basically, and that's what resonated throughout the entire meeting. The necessary medicines and accoutrement that we need to fight in this pandemic. And so, as a collaborative group, we should look out for how small island development states and smaller countries are treated somewhat disproportionately.
Foreign Affairs officials looking at ways in which the Bahamas can collect fees from cruise ships and aircraft which pass through the country on a regular basis, leaving behind large carbon footprints. Minister Henfield says he has been in discussions with the United Kingdom's Foreign Affairs Minister as efforts continue to mitigate the impact of climate change.
How can the Commonwealth assist the Bahamas in coming up with rubrics that we can levy fees on these huge cruise ships or super tankers and airplanes that come through the space of the Bahamas on an almost daily daily basis. As a former naval officer, I know that most of these things pass hole in the wall, just as right in South Abaco. And they go through with free partique, unfettered. But as they do, they have these emissions that are harmful to our climate.
Corporate Bahamas continuing to do its job helping Bahamians in need get through these tough times due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The latest initiative taking place at the Fox Hill Community Center. And that's where we find our Antoinette Smith. Good morning, Antoinette.
Stand by.
Good morning, LaDawn, and a pleasant good morning to you, Bahamas. Community outreach is the theme of the day here at the Fox Hill Community Center, and it seems just in time for World Food Day. The center has partnered with Limeade Bahamas and the Monroe Foundation to bring hot meals to persons in this area. Now with me today is Fox Hill MP Chanel Ferguson and also the CEO of Limeade Bahamas, Joshua Miller. Thank you both for being with us this morning. Now, Ms. Ferguson, obviously, this is just one of the many social outreach initiatives that's been going on here at the center since the pandemic started. But tell me, how impactful has this small partnership with Limeade Bahamas been in this short time?
Good morning, Bahamas. I'd like to characterize it as a big partnership because what they're doing, Limeade Bahamas and the Monroe Foundation, is huge for us. When things are rough and tough and scarce, anything that somebody does is big. And what they're doing is really big, really impactful. We appreciate it. We've done things here from the community center. It's a great place to do it from, where people feel a sense that there's a place that cares about me. There's a place that's doing something to help me during this time. And we've been truly blessed. Yesterday, we had the Royal Bahamas Police Force and the Commissioner coming to Freedom Park and bringing groceries and some bags for the kids. And today, Limeade and the Monroe Foundation has said Fox Hill is important to them. It's important to them to be their brothers' keepers. And so we are eternally grateful and delighted to have Limeade and the Monroe Foundation helping us out here in Fox Hill.
So obviously you've been on the ground for some time. Tell me, what is the need in this area, especially since the pandemic started?
The need in this area is the same need as throughout the Bahamas, throughout New Providence. Food, which is, we're happy that the government has the National Feeding Program, which works very well from the churches in this area and some different NGOs. So Fox Hill, as a matter of fact, is a center that serves a portion of this area wider than Fox Hill. It spreads into Eastwood and into Monastery Park. So Fox Hill is playing a pivotal role in the National Feeding Program. We're also the children. We have an Urban Renewal Center here, which is actually great for us in Fox Hill. And the Urban Renewal Center has done lunch every day for 3 weeks for children. And so every organization, Fox Hill is a village. And village means that we all come together to help each other, and that's exactly what's happening. All kinds of NGOs, just people who care, we all come together to make sure that the needs that are prevalent in this community are met to the best point that we can actually do it. From my office, we've distributed food and coupons, and now today, Limeade and the Monroe Foundation. I'm sure next week somebody out there will want to come to Fox Hill, and we welcome you with open arms.
Now, Joshua, this is not your first rodeo here. You have been partnering with centers all across Nassau, and today you're here at the Fox Hill Community Center. Why is it so important that you, as a corporate citizen, give back?
Because times are rough. We are all experiencing the COVID and all of the lockdowns and everything. Even though it's essential, we know the impact that it has on the economy, and it's just a rough time. So we're trying to find ways that we can give back and we can provide, even if it's just 1 gallon or 1 plate of food for the economy, we feel as though, we've done a good job.
Now, obviously, we spoke about this a little earlier. You said that, this is your second time, but it definitely won't be your last. Tell me how much plates you're prepared to give away today and what you're planning in the wider future.
Okay, so we are prepared to give away 400 plates and 400 gallons today. and the sky's the limit. We'll be willing to go as far as the sponsors take us. I also want to shout out my sponsors. They really came in for me. The Rotary Club of East Nassau, Purity Bakery, as she mentioned, the Miles and Ruth Monroe Foundation, Alfredo Foodie, Morning Rolls with Bowflex Barbie, ARM Bottling. It's quite a few, and we welcome all. So if anyone else wants to partake, you could just reach us on 323-0109.
All right, now they will both be on here a little bit longer today until 11 o'clock, until the plates run out. And if you are in the Fox Hill area, you're encouraged to stop by and take advantage of what Fox Hill MP Shawneal Ferguson and Live Bay Bahamas has prepared for you guys here. Back to you in the studio, LaDon.
Thanks a lot, Antoinette. Kalina Insurance Limited paying it forward in a big way just in time for World Food Day. Kalina is the latest corporate sponsor to participate in the Hands for Hunger Each One Feed One matching challenge, a charity drive that collects food monetary donations and then doubles it to feed twice the amount of families in need. When doubled, Kalina's donation is expected to feed over 140 persons for an entire week.
And Kalina Insurance Limited has partnered with them over the years, and we thought it fit to commemorate World Food Day with a donation to Hands for Hunger because, you know, Hurricane Dorian and the recent COVID-19 pandemic has really illuminated for us not just the demand in our society when it comes to food, but the wonderful work that agencies like Hands for Hunger does. And so as corporate citizens, it's our job to really help the communities in which we do business. And so Hands for Hunger is really active in terms of feeding the population. And now more than ever, like I said, it's obvious that they have that need. And we want to partner with organizations that make positive impact in our communities.
The organization has been working around the clock during the pandemic, and organizers say it has not been easy.
It has been absolutely challenging, especially with the closure of the hotels, you know, because most of our fresh food donations came from the resorts. Now that they're closed, we've really had to kind of change the way that we get the food that we're able to get. The work that we do at Hands for Hunger is fueled by our corporate partners and our individual donors as well. But we really couldn't do half of the work that we're able to do if it weren't for corporate partners who believe in the work that we do, that feel sincerely enough about helping the community that, you know, they reach into their pockets and they give back to organizations like Hands for Hunger. So without the donations of the public and corporate sponsors like Kalina, we really wouldn't be able to have as much of an impact as we do.
And stay close. Your TGIF traffic report is up next. You're watching The Morning Edition.
During this pandemic, it is our duty to ensure that all citizens, residents, and visitors are adhering to the COVID-19 safety protocol. Restaurants may operate utilizing curbside pickup, drive-through, takeaway, or delivery. Any establishment who allows the entry of any person not wearing a mask is liable upon a summary conviction to a fine of $500. I am Ambassador Ashanti Ruko of the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit. Save a life that may be your own.
This message brought to you by the Ministry of National Security in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
You are a healthcare worker. Thank you for fighting on the front lines against COVID-19. It is normal to feel stressed when taking care of others who don't feel well. But remember to take care of yourself. Don't forget to rest between shifts, eat healthy meals, engage in physical activity, and stay connected to family and friends. Avoid harmful coping strategies like drinking alcohol. For managers of healthcare workers, the same tips apply to you. Here's how you can help. Consistently give updates. Rotate staff between high and low stress level functions. Encourage work breaks and ensure that they know where they can find help. We are here for you.
ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Watch our live channel to keep up with what's going on in the nation. News updates, we've got you covered. Tune into our radio stations with just a swipe. On the road, on the go, we're here with you. Available for download on the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Hi,
I'm Dr. Ferguson. During this global pandemic, we ask for you to be responsible. As we fight this COVID-19 virus together, we would like to encourage you to do the following. Wash your hands. Cover your mouth and nose with a flexed elbow or tissue when coughing and sneezing. Please practice social distancing by staying 6 feet apart. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. If you must go out, wear a mask. We stay here for you. Please stay home for us. To those who are on the front line, we salute you as we continue this fight together.
This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health in conjunction with GD Media Solutions and this television station.
During this pandemic, it is our duty to ensure that citizens, residents, and visitors are adhering to the COVID-19 safety protocol. Cleaning and sanitizing will help stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Pay special attention to areas that are frequently touched in high traffic by family, friends, and clients. Make sure you're using proper cleaning materials and sanitizers. Place all cleaning materials in the correct disposal or storage area. I'm Ambassador Brittany Johnson of the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit. Save a life that may be your own.
This message brought to you by the Ministry of National Security in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Police Commissioner Paul Roll updating the press Thursday on recent infractions to the COVID-19 emergency orders. Roll says that they have seen a downward trend in the amount of parties taking place here in the capital. But nonetheless, he says there are still a few breaches.
Last week we didn't have any complaints with parties not here in Nassau. I think there were a couple on the Family Islands, and so I think in Nassau it appears as though the message is getting to persons to kind of abide by these social distancing rules. I think there were four ladies I know that were stopped on Village Road, and they did not have their identification with them. They were going to a local resort, and we took them in and cited them, but we didn't keep them in custody. There might have been one or two others that is not really, sorry, to my presence at all right now.
In reference to reports of people traveling to Family Islands for social gatherings, the commissioner says that they have dealt with the incidents and continue to enforce penalties.
I would encourage those persons on the Family Island, even though there may not be as much restrictions, but to kind of let us work together, and also encourage people in Nassau, not to go if they have these lockdowns going into the Family Islands. It's really as a precautionary. That's really all we can plead for them to do. But we are ticketing now, so there's a delay in the court proceedings with those. But that's an ongoing. And wherever we find it, if persons would be in breach, we're going to take decisive action and we'll ticket them.
Meantime, the Royal Bahamas Police Force continuing to make their rounds in the inner city communities, distributing care packages. Here's Crystal Darling.
Assisting residents in need of personal protective equipment as the country remains under COVID-19 emergency orders, Royal Bahamas Police Force Commissioner Paul Roll and members of his team continued their neighborhood distribution campaign Thursday morning in the Fox Hill community. Roll says that through the effort, they are encouraging the general public to follow the law.
This is the lighter part of policing. We want the members of the Fox Hill community to know that we are here for them, and that we support them and encourage them to partner with the police as we try to keep everybody in this community and throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas safe. We always concern, and I say again, the main message is for persons to let us abide by the social distancing and wearing of masks so that it is for all. We don't want to see, right now the numbers, we're over 5,000, and I'm here as an ambassador myself to try to carry the message to people: simply wear your mask. and practice social distancing.
Member of Parliament for the Fox Hill constituency, Chanel Ferguson, says she is grateful that the police is stepping in to assist families that face many needs during these economically challenging times.
It's a way of saying to the community that the police is not just about punitive action, not just about locking you up. It says that the police cares. And from the commissioner right down the line, we care about how you are doing in this time of COVID, when so many of you are not working, when so many of you are really having a difficult time. So this piece of humanism, I call it, on the part of the police is huge.
And co-chair of the Bahamas National Neighborhood Watch Council, Kino Wong, says this effort goes a long way for members of the community.
Today, we realize if you can look around, there is a lot of residents who are here right now who are basically in need. And so today, I think the commissioner is here with his team, along with so many other officers in the community, who wants to make these residents feel very appreciated, that, hey, we care, we love, and we want to show our love to them as well.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Network News.
Well, Anthony Smith and the Morning Edition traffic team is standing by with your Friday commute. Good morning, Anthony.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Good morning, LaDawn, and good morning for a second time to our viewers at home. Today's traffic report comes to you live from the Fox Hill roundabout. A pretty smooth area of flowing traffic, not too much cars moving through here. Joining me this morning is Corporal Charles Roll of the Royal Bahamas Police Traffic Division. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And can you give us a picture of what traffic was like overnight?
Yes, good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Bahamas. Over the past 24 hours, we have reported 3 murders, 2 of which being damage only and 1 involving injuries. Those persons have since been discharged and treated and discharged and in our home.
So obviously today is a big Friday. We're going into that 24-hour curfew, weekend curfew, and so lots of people are going to be making that mad dash trying to go home. Give us some tips tonight. We don't want to be on that wrong side of traffic out after 7 o'clock, so how do I avoid that?
Yes, we know with the new implementation of the 7 p.m. curfew, traffic is now heightened, the volume of traffic is extensive. We advise persons that have to carry out their chores and make last-minute runs to do so before the 6 o'clock hour. That gives you an hour to get home to your destination safely.
Alrighty, so I have a question because I've been checking the traffic maps, and up to 7 o'clock I am seeing congested traffic in certain areas, let's say Prince Charles, East Street. As a traffic officer, what penalty may these people face in just trying to make it home after 7?
If you break the curfew, breach of curfew, the fine is set at $200, so we want to avoid that. This time is difficulty economically, so we don't want to put those persons in that they should not put themselves in that position.
And obviously, rushing home is a serious recipe for disaster with lots of traffic accidents, especially happening around those times closer to curfew. And so can you impress upon them, the people at home, the importance of driving safe, basically?
Yes, we also like to speak to the persons traveling through residential areas to keep in mind the speed limit of 25 miles per hour. We know that persons are away from school, so they are going to be pedestrians and children in the streets. So pay particular attention to that and to just drive the ride on time.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today's traffic report. I'm going to toss it back to you in studio, LaDawn.
Thanks a lot again, Antoine. 13 Cuban nationals were transported to the capital late last evening aboard Defense Force patrol craft HMBS Leon Livingston Smith after they were apprehended by a United States Coast Guard cutter in the southwest Bahamas. The 11 males and 2 females were handed over to immigration officials for further processing. Every child deserves the opportunity to enjoy their childhood, but in this RBDF feature, we learned from an accomplished doctor and Marine who says it doesn't matter where you start, but how you finish. Here's Lloyd Allen.
A good doctor and a good father. Marine veteran Dr. Derwin Johnson says harsh lessons learned as a child proved pivotal in his success as an adult.
My dad, he was in and out of the home, and when he finally decided to leave at age 12, it made it a lot rougher, especially economically and financially. And at that age, I actually started working at a service station.
Johnson says although his plate was heavy for a child, his mother was an important part of the process in seeing the big picture.
God had it so where he put persons in my life that allowed me to learn how to be the man that I aim to be today, or I strive to be today, and it's been an awesome journey. After my dad left, I said it made it a little bit harder, but actually gave me an option to stay, but I had to help in terms of financial.
He says he always wanted to become a doctor, and similarly, he had a passion for serving in the military.
I've always wanted to be a doctor, even in primary school. Two things I always loved: medicine, to help people, as well as the military.
Johnson says the RBDF was his way of paying for medical school and proved to be a worthwhile choice despite having to wait another 15 years.
I have a lot of opportunity to attend overseas training with the U.S. military. I did a combat medic course, which is about 3 or 4 months. Also did medical lab technology, and never actually fully thought that I would have had the opportunity to get back into med.
Fast forward to 2019, first Dorian, then COVID-19. Johnson says as a kind of guardian to the 1,500 plus Marines, his job is a revolving door of protocol, precautions, and education.
And knowing that when we saw Dorian coming, it's like, okay, we started to focus more on reviewing our trauma training and getting our staff ready for deployment, because we know that there's going to be possibly a lot of injuries. We would have had training seminars and educational seminars for the entire force in regarding what COVID-19 is, how it is transmitted, the prevention of COVID-19 transmission.
A Christian, father, husband, counselor, and mentor, Dr. Johnson says because of his experiences, giving back remains his daily mission.
Being a member of the marriage ministry, helping those couples and having events for married couples, the school outreach program that we are also affiliated with, and giving back to some of the youth in the various high schools.
Commitment is said to be the foundation of great accomplishments, and Dr. Johnson says without it, he would not be the man he is today. Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Stay close, we've got more right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition.
It's a joy, to help someone who is in need,
I'm proud to know that we are able to accommodate them with a hot meal, fresh meal, and a well-balanced meal.
A lot of our clients, as you know, from the inner city and persons who really and truly have so much at a loss. And for whatever reason, 2 months, 3 months, they really don't have anything. You have to have some kind of kindness to do this.
This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Bahamas National Trust in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
For 60 years, we have been here, the voice of the environment. Here, speaking up and for your national parks, all across the islands of this nation. The places God visits for vacation, spanning over 2.5 million acres of land and sea. How delighted then he must be to see a sea of pink, as flamingos mingle and haven like jingles play where queen counts still sleep. And if you listen, you can hear it. The words of gossiping parrots awaiting the diction of the day. All 365 of them, that's every day and every year, 15,000 children share in the beauty of this playground. Our name is yours. And we have been yours for years unnoticed. Don't forget us. Support us. Your national parks. the defenders of your environment. Join us. Remember, our cause is yours. The first land and sea park in the world is yours. Heritage. Here it is. When was the last time you gasped at our scenery, gotten lost in the depth of our reefs, or even awed at the green of the leaves of our trees? Don't hesitate to donate and volunteer. Don't hesitate to care. We are here for you. The Bahamas National Trust, BNT. 3 letters that spell out simply, perfectly, and undoubtedly that we are yours.
The official start of the new academic school term has been a rocky one, as dozens of students across this country were unable to access the Ministry of Education's learning management system due to technical difficulties. However, during a virtual press conference yesterday, Minister of Education, the Honorable Jeffrey Lloyd, said that that is now a thing of the past.
Yeah, I'm proud to announce that our system is fully operational and maximized at its greatest efficiency, the learning management system. The challenges of Tuesday past are behind us. It has been tested and retested to determine its capability of absorbing the demand that was placed upon it in the initial stages of Tuesday morning. It has not only met those demands, but it has exceeded it. And we are happy and we are proud to announce that this morning.
Minister Lloyd added that as the country embarks on this new technological threshold, some challenges may be expected, but the end goal remains the same.
People are very interested in their education. They are delighted to continue to pursue their educational advancement, and all of our experiences have demonstrated that most keenly. Yes, we have a situation that is new to us, learning management system and education management information system, never ever before implemented in our country. Naturally, there will be from time to time certain inconveniences and possible disruptions, but as we have demonstrated through the collaboration of our vendors and our partners, we will meet those challenges and overcome them successfully to the benefit of our #1 clients, our parents, and students.
Teachers in our public schools continue to feel the brunt of the coronavirus just days into the new academic year. President of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Belinda Wilson, says with the ongoing issues affecting the virtual learning process, she is deeply concerned about the high level of teachers contracting the virus.
The COVID-19 has impacted our schools, and not only teachers and teachers' aides, but also the janitorial staff and even some office staff. Sister Annie, preschool also has been impacted. So I'm staying in touch with all of our members who have tested positive for COVID or who are in quarantine, and I'm just letting them know that they have the support and the backing and the prayers of the president and the union and all of our members throughout the country, and wishing them speedy recovery and reminding them to make sure that they follow all of the health and safety protocols.
With the exception of financial institutions like commercial banks and food stores, all other businesses are operating curbside, as instructed by the competent authority, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis. Automotive Industrial Distributors, AID, one of those businesses trying to get through these tough times.
We were open on Tuesday, and then because we had some concerns with staff, we decided not to open on Wednesday. So we had gotten reports early in the morning on Wednesday morning, so we decided not to open and make sure that we waited until we got all the results in and made sure that we sanitized the store rather than opening that during that day. Customers are very compliant. They understand that, these are the protocols that we have to follow. Curbside is difficult for everyone, including us as well as the customers, but, it's better than being closed completely. That's for sure, because we're allowed to employ, have our staff on the job. We're allowed to give customers some level of service.
Curbside service at AID, however, requires customers to pre-order using WhatsApp, email, or the telephone. Some shoppers we spoke to had mixed reviews about the emergency orders.
It don't make no sense. I mean, why they don't just let things open up? I mean, it seems like Corona ain't going nowhere. So you got to deal with it just like any other disease. AIDS and all of them come and they disappear and partly go, so you got to try to find a way to live with it.
This whole system, lockdown and so forth, is a bunch of chaos. You see, when you lock down the country, everybody, you find like on Friday now, everybody the road, I mean, jam packed with traffic.
I think everyone can understand that, we have to, have heightened safety measures while COVID is spreading so much. And definitely, at least being curbside, allowing curbside is much better than being closed.
The current budget cycle, the Ministry of Works and other ministries have seen their fair share of budget cuts, but this reality has brought to the forefront the increasing importance in supporting Bahamian businesses. Thanks to the Bridge and Road Enhancement Initiative underway by the Ministry of Works, Long Islander Stephen Knowles was able to obtain a contract.
I did the Newton Key Bridge in Long Island. I did the Barataria Dock in Barataria Exuma. I did the dock in Mars Bay. And I'm about to go start the bridge between Cooperstown and Cedar Harbor. That's going to be a little different. That's going to be a single-span steel bridge structure. I hope that the government of today empowers more young people like me so that we can make a change in society and the whole economic structure of the country.
In Standard Creek, Andros, the bridge reconstruction is set to be completed by the end of the year. Andros native and project inspector Kenrico Marshall says he is proud to find work at home.
My challenges was mostly the concrete pilings. Yeah, we corrected them, we got some new parts and we reinstalled. At times, this inspector, the workers don't really agree with the inspector, but I got to do my job.
Stay close, we've got more right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition.
Hi, I'm Dr. Pinder. During this global pandemic, we ask for you to be responsible. As we fight the COVID-19 virus together, we would like to encourage you to do the following. Wash your hands. Cover your mouth and nose with a flex elbow or tissue when coughing and sneezing. Practice social distancing by staying 6 feet apart. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, and if you must go out, wear a mask. We stay here for you. Please stay home for us. To those of you on the front line, we salute you as we continue this fight together.
This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health in conjunction with GD Media Solutions and this television station.
Let's stay COVID-free. Remember the 3 S's. Sanitize, social distance, and stay inside.
We've oftentimes highlighted female survivors battling breast cancer and the impact it has had on them and their families. But have you ever stopped to wonder what a man goes through if they are diagnosed with the killer disease? Well, we tracked down a male breast cancer survivor who lives in the United States but has family and soul ties right here at home.
He looks at me and says, Valentino, you have breast cancer. And I recall right there on the spot just praising God and just worshiping because I don't know what else to do.
It's this dreaded news from his doctor that now 46-year-old father of 2 and husband Valentino Hart has to live with forever. In his cancer reflections, the Nassau native, now Tampa, Florida resident, says the breast cancer diagnosis came as a shock 10 years ago. But with his faith in God, he managed to get through it.
At that time, the primary physician told me, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and just do a mammogram just to be on the safe side. So I said, mammogram? A mammogram is for a woman. So at that point, he was able to educate me. So I proceeded to do a mammogram the following day. And then when I did a mammogram, if you've never done a mammogram before as a guy, it's pretty painful, but at the same time, an adventure. Having to put that clamp in between your breast and try to get the lump that's in your breast and to be able to examine that. I recall going back to my car and sitting in my car right after the diagnosis and having to call my wife. And that was one of the toughest things I had to do, call my wife and let her know that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. The MRI, PET scan, the following week, thank the Lord that they all came back negative as far as it hadn't spread to any other parts of my body. I took some lymph nodes out. Those were negative. And I was able to, at that point, go back to my doctor. At that point, he recommended that I have a bilateral mastectomy, which is the removal of both breasts.
But Valentino's breast cancer journey got even more interesting. In fact, while administering chemotherapy treatments, he said he was quite surprised to see others battling a disease that's very rare in a man's world.
At the age of 36 years old, I was a little shocked when I walked into the chemo lab, and I was under the impression that I was going to be the only male. I was under the impression I was going to be the only young person in there, but to my surprise, there were persons younger than me, older than me, and there were males in there as well with breast cancer. And I was very humbled by the experience. Having to do the chemo, 2 hours every day as a male with breast cancer, it was tough, but I had to rely on the word of God.
Some good news, though. As of this month, Valentino is in remission and says he has been healed from the killer disease. With his grandmother and 2 aunts losing the fight, Valentino gave these strong words to men who feel they are exempted from breast cancer.
As men, we overlook the fact and think it's just a woman thing. And by the time we get to the doctor, it has already metastasized all throughout our body. So I would encourage men that this disease does affect us as well. We have to check our bodies, our chests, for any lumps in our breast area and follow up with the doctor because early detection and treatment help save lives.
Well, the Morning Edition bringing you some down-home Bahamian entertainment this morning. We go live to our Antoinette Smith with a Bahamian musical icon.
A pleasant, sweet treat for our viewers here at home. With us today is Emily Williams, or better yet known as the Bahamian songstress. Sweet Emily, thank you so much for being with us here this morning. How are you?
Listen, I'm doing great. It's good to have you all, and y'all at my home this morning. Hello, Facebook. Hello, all of my fans out there in New Zealand.
Now, you're just coming off of a For the Culture battle with Veronica Bishop that has received so many ratings from people all across the Bahamas. How is that feeling?
It's an awesome feeling. A lot of persons haven't seen me perform in a long time, so a lot of persons weren't aware that I was back. And so people hit me up even late last night. I'm sure they hit me up again this morning, just wanted to know, hey, I was happy to see you, and they were just saying that y'all two are the best that we've ever seen. You can't outbeat it. Y'all know what they're saying out there, but it was a really awesome experience being on the stage, not only with Veronica, but being able to do what we call the Bahamian versus sponsored by BTC, what we call For the Culture. And a lot of persons were home lockdown, so they enjoyed it. They said they were home sculling.
So obviously, every so often you come off the scene and then you come back up and with the high energy. Talk to me about coming back on the scene, and also you are premiering a new song today, especially for us here at ZNS.
Well, of course, for me, I don't go and come. There are some artists who go and come up. I came out of Sweet Emily and I recorded my first album in '96. I was always bringing it. I was on top when I left. I only took a sabbatical. I went into the church to do ministry with my husband. I'm still in ministry, so I'm still saved, y'all. But I think my mandate, God has called me. So I didn't call you to the Four Walls ministry. I called you to go out to the places where you used to sing, doing your cultural music, but winning souls for Him. And so I'm still doing what I do, but I'm doing it culturally and doing it for the kingdom.
And that new song.
The new song, yes. It's called Dignity, and you'll be hearing it in a little bit. The song, it really talks about sexual harassment on the job and what women go through sometimes to have to be able to get a job. You got to sleep with somebody. You got to be in a position where you're always uncomfortable with having to do stuff that you want to do. So it's a strong message, a song with a strong message, has a nice rhythm, and I think people are going to love it.
All right, a very strong, thought-provoking message that song is, and Sweet Emily is going to take it away. We're going to hear that today.
All right, let me get my music together, y'all.
Husband never do. Still you ain't know if this girl will hire you. But in all this humiliation, to get a job these days as a woman, whether they go keep their money, I can keep my money and die with my dignity. Oh, la, la, la. Yeah, man. You see, some of them that pass up already, and they sit down, pretend to prey on me, using the power of the captain position, waiting to exploit any woman. Together with you have to go to bed with you, become yourself second wife and deputy, and as the next woman come on the line, he tell you, you're no good, you can't want. They want to see some more the fact to see. They want to see when you're done to never do. They want to see. They want to come, they can actually do that. So before I have to let down somebody and call the police to come for me, tell them they could keep their money, I could keep my money and die with my dignity. Fred on guitar, y'all. Fred Ferguson, big up Fred. Sexual harassment ain't nothing to play with, y'all. Don't give up and don't give in to that. Okay? Ladies, listen to this. You have a lot of women just like me who may not be well off financially. You need a job and you really need it bad. A man decide to help, you must be glad. You must demand yourself as a woman. You must be down respect from the vagabonds. Stand up to them and let them know the truth. It's working the and you ain't no prostitute. You have a ball on your back, they want to see. They want to see every mark on my belly. They want to know how many men you had before, and if you're strong enough to take any more. I have my pride and I have my ambition. I love my head, I'm high as a woman. So tell them they can keep their money, I can keep my money and die with my dignity. Oh, la la la, yeah man.
We're going to toss it back to you in Studio LaDawn. This is the sweet styling of Sweet, Sweet Emily.
Some good music there by Sweet Emily. Thanks so much. Stay close. We've got more right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition.
It is important to take precautions to reduce your risk of getting infected with COVID-19, even when you go to the grocery store. Practice physical distancing that is 6 feet apart from others while you wait in line to enter the store. One person per household needs to go. Use wipes to disinfect the cart or basket handle that you select. Avoid touching your face, unnecessary items, and surfaces. Try to touch only what you are buying. So carry a grocery list to help you move along quickly. Do not forget to wear a cloth mask while you do your shopping and carry hand sanitizer with you. Practice physical distancing that is 6 feet apart from others as you shop and at the cash register. Spend as little time as possible in the store and get enough groceries to last you for a while. Once your groceries are packed and loaded, use hand sanitizer and rub your hands together until they are completely dry. When you come home from the grocery store, take off your shoes at the door and put all of your grocery bags in one area. Disinfect your grocery bags. Rinse produce and wipe down cans and packages with soap and water before you put them away. Wash your hands thoroughly for 20 seconds when you are done. Wash your clothes and your reusable grocery bags.
This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the bank of solutions.
That's it for us on this Friday morning. For the entire team, I'm LaDawn Davis. Make it a great day and have a safe weekend.
Watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
You and Your Money is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited, the Insurance Commission of the Bahamas, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Fidelity Bank.
Good evening, and welcome to You and Your Money. I'm your host for this evening's show, Javon Butler, and it is indeed a pleasure to have you in our company. In September 2019, the Bahamas was faced with Hurricane Dorian, with damages estimated as high as $3.4 billion. And now, today, for the majority of 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to a greater loss of GDP estimated between 15 to 18%. We are joined this evening by Mr. Zhivago Lang, economist and former Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, and Mr. Gowan Bowe, the Chief Executive Officer for Fidelity Bank, as they will share their views and oversights of where we are today in our economy. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Bowe, can you share your views on the response of the government to date when we look at the pandemic of this year? I don't want to go too far back into the Dorian. That too was very devastating. But when we really look at our approach over the last 6-7 months related to COVID-19.
Well, I believe we have to be candid but fair. And in that regard, we certainly know that the initial